Most runners build their base by just running more miles, more speed work. But what if I told you that you're skipping the one thing that actually prevents injuries and makes you faster? Let's talk about building your aerobic base for running with strength training. I'm Dr. Peralta, physical therapist, run coach, and exercise physiologist. Over the past 10 years, I've helped hundreds of runners hit PRs, stay injury free by fixing how they build their fitness, right? How they think about running and also how they build their base. In this video, I'm going to share you how to actually build a base for running, your aerobic base, and why strength training must be part of it. Whether you're training for a 5K or a marathon, this is going to change how you build your foundation. So let's set the scene. Running is a high impact sport. Every stride puts 2 to 3 times your body weight through your joints. That's 300 to 450 pounds of force per foot strike for a 150 pound runner. It's no surprise that 50% of runners get injured every year. And these are the types of injuries that actually makes runners take time off their running, their plan, and then having to see someone like myself, a physical therapist, to get help to recover with the injury. And 70 to 80% of these running injuries are not due to freak accidents. It's due to overuse injuries, right? Mostly at the knees, ankles, and lower legs from the repetitive nature of running and the body not being strong enough to handle the loads. So when we talk about building a base, it's not just about logging more and more miles. Your base is like a house with a foundation, right? You skip the support beams and everything eventually collapses. It may hold up in the very beginning, but then it does break down. So let's break down 3 reasons why strength training is essential for building that foundation. See, reason number 1, strength training reduces injury risk. Right. Well, research shows strength training reduces sports injuries by 66%. A 10% increase in strength training volume leads to a 4% drop in injury risk. It strengthens, when you're done properly, it can strengthen the key muscles, glutes, quads, hamstrings, calves, and builds core control and joint stability, right? Safer than most runners think when done correctly. So the problem is many people do strength training incorrectly. They think, oh, it just makes me more sore, or, it's taking away from my running, right? And they're going to argue with me, but to be a better runner, don't you just have to run more? Yes, running more is important. And obviously you do have to do running to build up your running fitness, right? You have to do your easy runs. You do some speed workouts, right? I'm also a big fan of the 80-20 approach when you're doing 80% of your runs easy, 20% of the runs are hard, right? So you should be obviously doing lots of running workouts, and even walking is part of that as well, especially if you're a beginner, you're not used to running, walking is part of that as well. But strength training should still make up the base of that pyramid, or the base of your fitness should be strength training, right? And when strength training is done properly, it could be it's not going to increase your risk of injury. It's going to decrease the risk of injury. So one of my clients, Jennifer, she was able to run, she was a marathon runner, right? She was able to, pretty fast too, like I think it was a 3:15 marathoner. But she was always constantly getting hurt, getting injured, having to take time off from her training season after season. And when I talked to her, I'm like, are you doing any strength work? She admitted she hadn't touched strength training in years. She actually she did 0 strength training in the past 5 years. So we did a simple step-down test in physical therapy. It's a step-down test to see how strong someone's leg is to step off a single step. A very easy test. I think I had her do it off like a 12-inch box, and she wobbled like a newborn baby. She was like losing her balance all over the place. And you could see that her hips were kind of rotating. Her knee was collapsing inwards. So she had no lateral or rotational control in her hips and in her knees and ankles, because her body was only trained with running, with going forwards. Once we'd added strength training and the right type of strength work to address these imbalances, her injuries disappeared. And that's the power of doing a real base, and that base made up of strength training. Reason number 2, strength training also improves your running performance. So if you're thinking of the performance side of things, strength training improves running economy by up to 2 to 8%. That means you're able to run faster, using less energy, right? You're more fatigue resistant. You're not getting as tired or fatigued by holding your race pace at different race distances. See, high load strength work, in addition to plyometrics or power work, helps increase neuromuscular power, movement efficiency, right? You're more coordinated. You could generate more power, more force. So then you could also run faster. The thing is, you have to do the right types of strength work, and also a combination of strength work, right? You can incorporate even weighted or resistance running. Think of running with a sled, right? Pushing a sled and running with a sled across like a football field, or doing across a track, running with like a weighted vest. Running with weights in your hands, right? Actually holding like a dumbbell in each of your hands, or running with ankle weights. So that's, some people call this contrast training, where you're building your speed and force output by running with added weight. Not that you're not going to run all the time this way, just like a special day for doing this type of speed strength work. And that's also going to help complement your running performance. In addition to the traditional heavy strength days, right? Doing things like squats and lunges and deadlifts. So use this contrast method of doing some days with heavy traditional strength work and also some fast speed endurance or special running exercises to prime your nervous system, right? Doing sprints, right? If you start doing regular sprints after sprinting with a sled or doing sled dragging or sled pushing, you're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel faster and more powerful just because now your body is now not having to push against the added resistance, right? So it's very important to do this type of training, right? Not only just traditional strength training, but also doing special type of strength work as well. Reason number 3, strength training also speeds up recovery. See, when properly programmed, lifting 2 to 3 times per week helps you recover better from both running and strength training. But you also want to do the right types of strength training. Avoid bodybuilder style routines with high volume, right? You don't want to be doing strength work 6 days a week. If you're a runner, not a physique competitor. Now, if you're someone who wants to do both, that's a different story. But if you want to optimize for running, doing 6 days a week of strength training is going to hinder you and may limit your performance, especially if you're training for like a marathon. Doing high volume strength work and high volume of running is going to lead to overtraining and it's going to be over fatigued. But strength training, when done the right way, doesn't break you down, it builds you up. So how to do this the right way? One, you want to rotate your exercises, right? Have separate days for your strength workouts and then do them typically with your speed workouts as well. And then keep your easy days easy, recovery days as recoveries. Don't do your strength workout during a recovery day. Your recovery day should just be strictly for recovery. And then doing different types of strength exercise. Don't always do the same squats, right? Do lunges, do lateral lunges. You want to mix up the exercises that you're selecting as part of your strength work as well. So how to integrate strength work into the base building? Step 1, you want to assess your movement. You want to see where your strength is, right? You want to get your baseline strength, right? Can you do a proper squat? Can you squat with control? Can you do a lunge, a body weight lunge without losing your balance? And can you do a good quality reps, right? Can you do like 20 reps of lunges on each leg without getting overly fatigued or losing your balance with just pure body weight? And if you are getting so fatigued or so challenged, you can't even barely do 10 reps of just body weight lunges, that's fine. Just write down like, hey, you only have to do 10 reps. You want to build up your fitness with the lunge. And then you have different mini goals that you work on for your strength. And then also, can you do like a single leg deadlift, right? Because single leg deadlift is also balance, right? Can you do the deadlift with balance and then good quality reps, right? So look up how to do a proper squat, proper lunge, proper single leg deadlift. And if you're not sure, work with a personal trainer, right? Get one-to-one. You could even just get an assessment with a trainer. They could look at your strength. They could look at your core, upper body, lower body, etc., and then give you a plan to see what imbalances there are and to help you address those imbalances and hopefully decrease injury risk. And then step 2, then you obviously want to program your strength work or schedule it into your weekly training week. All right. So if you're doing a base building plan to build up your running fitness, right? Maybe you're doing an 8-week base building, right? You're doing 8 weeks of running conditioning. During that 8-week, you also want to add strength workouts during the week schedule. So 2 to 3 days a week of doing strength training. So I typically recommend most runners just do a full body routine 2 days a week or even 3 days a week. Or they could do a split routine where they go one day is a heavy lower body day, another day is a heavy upper body day, and another day is like a core dynamic plyometric day. And then you want to mix the types of strength loads you use. So some days you do very heavy days, right? So 3 to 5 rep max. Other days you do moderate days, 8 to 12 rep max. And other days you might even do lighter or explosive, more faster type movement, 20 plus rep max exercise, so like doing like speed squats, speed lunges, explosive jumping lunges, jumping squats, sled drags, burpees, and also lateral and rotational movements. Think lateral lunges, rotational lunges, squats with a rotational component, step down, step ups. You just want to vary the angle, vary the direction of the strength exercise. So you're targeting different muscle groups and different angles, and then also help prevent your risk of injury, not only with running, but also potential just doing the same strength workouts. You also mix it up by doing varying movements and directions and angles. And then step 3, align your strength work with your run training, right? So do your strength workout typically on your hard run days, for example, on your tempo run days, your speed run days. So you give your body a true rest on easy days or recovery days, right? Also, avoid doing strength training the day right before a long run or a race, right? If you're if you're going to be doing a race, obviously you don't want to strength work right before a race. But also, if you're doing some long runs, doing your base training, you don't want to do strength training right before your long run. It's going to overly fatigue you, and then maybe take away from your ability to do the long run properly. So let's say you're an intermediate runner, you're doing base building. What does this week look like? For example, Monday might be an easy run day. Tuesday, you might do some speed work, intervals. Then I'll then do a heavy strength training day where you do like heavy 5 rep max or even 8 rep max strength training. And then Wednesday might be easy run. And then Thursday, you might do a tempo run or maybe do hill repeats. And then you do a more dynamic strength or explosive style strength work, maybe doing jump squats, power cleans, burpees, sled drags, weighted vest, mini sprints. And then Friday, you may rest again, or maybe you'll do a cross training, maybe do 20, 30 minutes of cross training on a bike or elliptical or row or swim. And then Saturday, you go for your long run. And then Sunday, you rest. Beginners simply just skip the speed days, right? Maybe only do one speed workout a week in terms of running, or just replace it with just more walking days or run walk. Beginners typically should just focus on form, durability, right? I actually like a lot of beginners to do a run walk program for their base building, plus 2 days a week of strength training or even 3 days a week of strength training as tolerated. So if you want to build a better base, run faster, and avoid injury, don't just run more, train smarter, and make sure strength training is part of your base building. So I also break this down in more detail in my free training linked for runners who want to run pain-free, a link in the description. Check it out and start building a base that lasts for your running.